I thought I was saving a babe, a luscious damsel in distress. Not some flat-chested little girl.
Super Smash Shows! Welcome to Super Smash Shows. You might remember this show under the name The Weekly Diranto. Same exact idea, no weekly commitment. The rules are simple. I pick 3 shows connected by a theme. I watch the first episode of each, and then cruelly force them to fight in a battle royale. There can be only one winner, the show I would be most likely to continue watching. This time we'll be pitting the first episode of these 3 shows against each other. Demon Slayer, Goblin Slayer, and The Slayers. The connection is that all 3 of these shows have Slayer in their title. So without further ado, get ready for the next battle! Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer starts with a literal cold opening as we see a landscape covered in snow. You could call that a cold opening. Our lead character, a young boy with wavy hair, provides verbal exposition for us that he is carrying his unconscious, wounded sister to somewhere safe. Time rewinds to earlier the previous day, when the young boy sets off to a nearby town to run a family errand. He is actually the oldest of his siblings. His name is Tanjiro, and he's heading off to sell charcoal so his family can afford a New Year's celebration.
But I'll bring back goodies, okay?
Promise?
Yeah.
I get the feeling he's not going to bring those goodies back. Don't die! He bumps into his sister Nezuko, who will be important later. In classic expository style, she explains that since their father passed away, everyone in the family looks up to Tanjiro and follows him, like he became the man of the house. This shall also bear fruit a little later on. That's not at all setting up something for later. Surely not. What I'm saying is, in a couple of minutes, shit's gonna hit the fan. Tanjiro heads to town and sells the charcoal. It is revealed in this scene that Tanjiro has an exceptional sense of smell, impressive enough to identify that a cat broke a plate. This is also sowing a seed of an idea for a little later on as well. So Tangerine has, like, the great ability sense of smell. It is now evening, and Tanjiro is about to walk home, down the mountain in the dark. He is stopped by a kindly local gentleman that informs him he should stay the night, and this particular shot puts shivers down my spine. Before the demons show up. What an interesting tonal shift. It is explained that demons live in the area, known for coming into people's houses and killing them to feed. But thankfully, demon slayers exist who methodically eliminate them in order to keep everyone safe. Old man Saburo's been on his own. He's got a bit mad in the head. He thinks there's demons. A growing unease is felt. If Tanjiro is here, then what will happen to his family? Well, presumably nothing. He's gone most of his life without so much as hearing about the demons. Only his late grandmother ever mentioned them.
Oh, Tangerine! Beware the demons! They mostly come out at night. Mostly.
And all the time he's been living at home, they've never so much as been attacked by a demon. Shrugging off his unease, Tanjiro agrees to stay until first light, when he will return home. As you probably expected, that night Tanjiro's family were slaughtered. He discovers this when he returns home, and we take Tanjiro's word for it that it was the act of a demon, as his sense of smell alerts him to a scent that doesn't smell like a human. His mother and all of his siblings besides Nezuko were slaughtered. Tanjiro of course struggles with this situation. After all, he is the one everybody in the family looks up to, and he wasn't there to protect them. If I had gone home last night, maybe I could have protected them. Oh no. Did you do this, Nezuko? Oh gosh. Messy. It's just a ketchup accident. A ketchup accident gone horribly wrong. Nezuko barely survives, but remained unconscious. Tanjiro hoists Nezuko onto his shoulders and attempts to flee the scene. This matches up to where the episode began. Along a steep mountainside, Tanjiro is flung off the edge by a now conscious Nezuko, who doesn't appear to be having that great a time. I have woken. I require sustenance. Nezuko, please, I'm trying to help you. A demon slayer, Giyu, finally shows up, late to the party, who laments not being able to save Tanjiro and Nezuko's family.
You call that thing your sister?
That's Johnny Young Bosch! Giyu insists that Nezuko must be killed because her wounds have been tainted by demon blood. Oh, ow. I've severed your soul-linked chain. You have 30 minutes left in that body. But after Nezuko shows that she is able to control her demonic behavior, Giyu has a change of heart and informs the siblings that they should travel to Urokodaki, where they may be able to learn of a way to turn Nezuko back.
Look for an old man named Sakonji Urokodaki. When you find him, tell him Giyu Tomioka sent you.
Sorry, I missed all that. The names were in Japanese, and you said them too quickly. Kirigiri Otokogi. Is that what you said? The episode ends with Tanjiro and Nezuko setting off for their journey. But before they do, they take the time to bury their mother and siblings on the grounds of their family home. Wow, that really was a pretty good first episode. It's gonna take some doing to top that. I got this theatre to myself. I can line up whatever I want to watch next. Show number 2, Goblin Slayer. No one's gonna kick me out. The cinema's all mine. This entire real cinema is all mine. Goblin Slayer. Much like Demon Slayer, Goblin Slayer is also a dark show, and also features a cold opening. All the rage in anime these days. Another cold opening, modern anime has liked doing that recently. A dank cave scene with water dripping from the ceiling and blood patches on the floor. A teenage girl is crippled by an intense fear. A figure approaches her, wielding fire. Title: Goblin Slayer. With an exclamation mark, that's how you know this is important. Time rewinds to earlier that day. The girl is standing in what appears to be some form of an adventurer's guild office, speaking to an employee. The girl has just been registered as an adventurer, at the lowest rank of porcelain. Basically, this is your name tag, so when you die, we know who you are. Before being able to examine the nearby quest board or join an experienced party, she is unwittingly dragged into her first party. Made up of 3 upstart youths, with all the confidence and none of the skill. I don't see this turning out very well. The quest: Goblin slaying. Goblins! Ugh, I don't like them! Ugh. The guild employee informs them of the difficulty and risk, but the leader of the party, a hotshot adventurer lacking the talent to back up his exuberance, insists that they are more than capable of completing the task. You fool! This is a suicide mission! The rest of the party blindly follows the leader, and their peer pressure convinces our lead, named after her position of priestess, to accept the quest. The guild employee looks on with an innate sadness, likely already preparing to fill in the paperwork for the soon-to-be dead porcelain adventurers. You're all dead. These are goblins, mate. They're not like,
Oh, look at me, I'm a little goblin.
they're gonna be like, they're gonna have like their tongue hanging out and everything. Gonna be green, they're gonna be bald, they're gonna be smelly. Our priestess is rightfully concerned, but the teammates criticize her for flaking. Pressured to continue, the team make their way into the goblin's den. The incompetence of the team becomes more apparent. I'm sure we'll be able to handle a couple of little tiny little goblins. What could possibly go wrong? They're full of bravado, and while their credentials are sound, it feels like we're privy to something they're not. It's like we know everything is going to fall apart, and soon. What did you get yourself involved with? Seriously. Even when attempting to reassure the priestess of their safety in numbers, the leader manages to clank the roof of the cave with his sword, revealing that they are ill-equipped for combat in the cave that they are in. It is also revealed that the team did not bring potions, as they had little time to prepare for the quest, presumably hoping to swoop in and complete it before anyone else could claim the reward. Eventually the goblins appear, attacking from behind and startling the team. What ensues can only be described as chaos. While it appears the adventurers may have the upper hand at first, there is a clear moment when all is lost. As soon as one teammate falls, the others do, like clockwork. Without your stick, you can't do any magic. Oh no. The mage is poisoned beyond cure. It's a good job you got that little name badge to let them know who you were when you inevitably die. The swordsman is pounced upon and shredded to pieces. I don't see the miracles of the goddess bringing this guy back. The fighter, so confident in her abilities, cannot stop herself from getting pinned down and used. Quest failed. Our priestess attempts to escape, carrying the wounded mage. After tripping, she is shot with an arrow and unable to move. Finding herself frozen to the spot, overcome by intense terror, she loses control of her bodily functions. This is it. She's going to be next. When the goblins lose interest in her new friends, they will come for her. We are now at the point in which the episode started. Fire approaching from the distance. Don't worry. Doom Guy is here. Medieval Doom Guy is here. The fire-wielding armored figure makes short work of the goblins with incredible combat prowess. He is an adventurer, a silver-ranked adventurer. He is the Goblin Slayer. Our new friend does not falter in doing what needs to be done. He administers a painkiller to our priestess and ends the suffering of the mage, who will otherwise experience unbearable pain from the poison. You could say the porcelain team has shattered. The priestess tags along. In an attempt to mask their scents, the Slayer and the priestess cover their clothes in the blood of the freshly slain goblins, which allows them to slink deeper into the cave unnoticed. They encounter the mangled remains of the swordsman. The Slayer comments on the impractical choice of weapon. I doubt there's much left of him to identify him. Goblin Slayer reveals that the cave splits in two, that in low-level light, the other paths in the cave may simply look like shadows. This is how the goblins got the jump on our adventurers, and how the Slayer and Priestess will now do the very same to them. They affix a trap to help with their escape, and the two venture further in. A plan is formed, and the metal music begins to play. After a well-aimed spear throw and a tactical retreat, Slayer and Priestess pick off the remaining goblins one by one.
Oh, amazing.
With effective use of gasoline and the Slayer's training and experience, the goblins are dealt with in a manner that seems almost effortless.
Shit. Goblin Slayer skin for Doom Eternal when?
Upon returning to the goblins' inner den, the fighter is discovered alive and retrieved. The shaman is finished off, and a secret door is uncovered. Inside, the goblin children. With extreme prejudice, the Slayer eliminates the children, not allowing a single goblin to live.
Wow. The only good goblin is a dead one. Fuck. Wow.
Then we get our wrap up to the episode, and the priestess decides to join up with the Goblin Slayer.
That was pretty good. I'm very cautious as to where that's gonna go. But we'll see,
The Slayers. Unlike our other two shows, Slayers is a light-hearted comedy and begins with an opening song instead of a cold open. The tone of the show is very different, which will be refreshing after two shows that were unafraid to break boundaries. It notably contains the voice of Brock and James from the 4Kids Pokemon dub, Eric Stewart, in yet another role where he plays a helpless womanizer.
It's dangerous for kids to go out walking alone. Were you with your mommy or your daddy by any chance?
Stupid jerk.
The name escapes me, but that's Brock from Pokemon.
After a very 90s opening song and sequence, we begin with a shot of a dragon locked up in a cave. Nearby, hooligans drink and celebrate a successful raid on a nearby town. Before the party can really get into the swing of things, a young sorceress makes her appearance, the legendary Lena Inverse.
Well, I knew she was hot.
Her reputation as a bandit killer and excessive hypocrite precede her. While the voiceover from Lena's perspective paints her as the patron saint of the universe, she's busy raiding the bandit den of treasure for her own nefarious needs.
I don't think that's what she's doing it for.
But so long as evil exists.
I love how the voiceover is like, I'm on the side of good, but what she's doing is robbing all the treasure.
After the title card, it is now the following day, and Lena is walking down a forest path, proud of herself for the previous night's haul. She knows full well that she is being followed by one of the bandits and decides to confront him. After a series of back and forth comments, insults, and backhanded compliments, the bandit calls out to his friends to attack Lena. While more than capable of looking after herself, Lena notices that a swordsman has come to her rescue and decides to play the damsel in distress so that she doesn't have to exert herself. The swordsman at first appears happy to help, but upon realizing that he saved a young girl and not a luscious, busty babe, he becomes notably disappointed. Eventually, he introduces himself as Gowry and agrees to help Lena reach the nearby Atlas City. Gowry even offers to buy Lena dinner in a nearby village.
What is it with 90s anime appetites?
As it turns out, this nearby village had a bandit problem until last night, when the bandits were defeated by a sorceress. This was Lena's doing. But without dealing with the bandits' restrained dragon, the dragon has now gotten loose. Lena agrees to defeat the dragon in exchange for gold, and after the village wise man reluctantly agrees, Lena and Gowry attempt to defeat a now rampaging dragon.
Uh-oh. Better go slay that dragon. We're gonna throw a Pokeball at it. Shouldn't be a a problem for the renowned sorceress Lena Inverse. It's humongous. It's big chungus. It feels like this dub is fairly off. There's a lot of jokes in it. They successfully defeat the dragon, but the village is completely razed to the ground. Nothing more than a steaming crater. Dragon's dead though. Lena and Gowry are chased out of the village by its residents, and their journey to Atlas City begins. This was pretty good. It's early stages, I haven't done the write-up yet, I haven't decided yet, but these were 3 great first episodes. It's going to be very difficult to pick a winner. In an ideal world, with enough time and resources, I would watch all 3 of these, but unfortunately there can only be one winner on Super Smash shows. Pretty good, pretty good. Wow. Difficult to say at this stage. It's anybody's game. Battle Royal! 3 different shows with 3 different vibes, and while I would gladly resume watching all 3 of them, only one can be granted as the winner. Which show will win? It's the Battle Royal. These shows do share some connections. Demon Slayer and Goblin Slayer both take place in gritty, dark worlds, with a certain dashing of horror elements that give us a more grounded story. Slayers and Goblin Slayer both take place in the sorcery and sword-swinging, medieval style of fictional world, where dragons exist and there is treasure for the taking. Goblin Slayer's symbolism in the first episode is certainly easy to miss, but I picked up on it. After the slaughter of the goblins, our malleable lead priestess is formed and shaped by the actions of the Slayer. The goblin blood dripping from the Slayer's club stains the priestess's staff. It could say that at this point, she has fallen under his spell. The show begs the question, is there such a thing as a good goblin? I think this is going to be explored fairly deeply by Goblin Slayer. Violence begets violence, and a cycle like this one may take some effort to break. Can one simply paint an entire species of creatures as evil? I look forward to seeing how Goblin Slayer explores what remains to be a very hot-button topic in medieval fantasy fiction. With its dark and uncomfortable themes, this episode was painful to watch. Even when I knew what was coming, thanks to the controversy when the show originally aired, I still found certain scenes of this episode to be extremely difficult to watch. Of course, that's the intended reaction, and I'm glad I'm not a jaded cynic with no feelings. Slayers is definitely a very 90s show, and watching this first episode in the dub was a very enjoyable experience. Ouch. God. Hearing Lisa Ortiz, who played Amy Rose in Sonic X, as the voice of Lena Inverse brought a smile to my face with every line that she spoke. There's something about vintage anime that does it for me. As I've explained before, there's a certain craft to retro shows that modern anime can't seem to get right, no matter how hard it tries. Something to do with the idea that art is created through clever use of one's resources. Often restrictions or limitations can improve art, as the creators must find a way to get the most out of what they have. I feel that Slayers manages that, and just out of watching one episode. Of course, shows of this era often have these open-ended
We have to get to this place stories that allows them to create the place of the week scenario, padding out a story with mostly meaningless encounters. I get the feeling Slayers won't fall into this trap, but across all 5 seasons, we're looking at 78 episodes, and I'm not sure if I can make that commitment. Ultimately, I love what Slayers has on offer, especially as a vintage anime fan, though if I choose to continue watching, I will need to make an effort to finish a similar show, Demon Child Zenki, which I am currently making my way through. Demon Slayer's first episode sets up an interesting mystery. Something I almost missed right off the bat. If Nezuko's wounds were contaminated with demon blood, what caused the demon to bleed? What really happened on the night the demons attacked Nezuko and the rest of Tanjiro's family? What about Tanjiro's presence at home kept his family safe, seeing as the one night he was not at home was the night this incident occurred? Obviously there's something about Tanjiro that has somehow kept his family safe from demon attacks, and I want to know what that is. With a mystery being set up and 2 really likable main characters, Demon Slayer looks like it holds the most promise. There has to be a reason why it is so highly renowned, despite it not having been a whole year since the first season finished airing. It won Crunchyroll's Anime of the Year award and was recently voted by fans on Twitter to be the best anime ever, which I remember caused a great deal of complaints at the time. From a single episode, I can see how this show might have gained its outrageously positive reputation. It's beautifully animated, has a gorgeous visual style, and oozes great atmosphere. I can only imagine, at this stage, what kind of show Demon Slayer turns out to be, but if it stays true to the roots it laid down in the first episode, I have no doubts I shall enjoy it.
And the winner is... Slayers.
As I said before, there's no doubt that I want to continue watching all 3 of these shows in the future, if time and life's little dramas permit. Demon Slayer is the real winner. In many ways, it is still the show I most want to continue watching, but unfortunately, external reasoning is involved in picking Slayers. Much like with the Bones episode and the Skullman, availability does play a factor in choosing a winner. Demon Slayer has yet to receive a UK Blu-ray release. Even though the license is owned by Anime Limited, they just haven't announced a physical release at the time of recording. Since the original version of this episode aired, it has now received a Part 1 release in my territory on Blu-ray. But you think I'm gonna watch the show now? After all this copyright shit? Oh, and it's also coming to Netflix. It might already be on Netflix here in the UK, so there's that too. To contrast availability, I shot onto eBay and picked up both Season 1 and Season 2 of Slayers on DVD in excellent condition for a really respectable price. I will admit that prior to recording this episode, I always wanted to see what Slayers was about. I was really not surprised by how quickly I took to Slayers. But as I said, I will definitely be going out of my way to watch all 3 of these shows in the future.
Except Demon Slayer, lol.
But the first one I watch will probably be Slayers, because it's already in the post on its way to me. So which would you have crowned the winner? Demon Slayer and its Taisho-era tale of folklore and demons? Goblin Slayer and its gritty take on the medieval MMO worlds of sorcery and loot? Or Slayers and its unashamedly loud, brash and voracious lead characters? I would have you vote in the cards, but YouTube's taking that away, so feel free to post a comment instead.
This has been ReelAsia. You've been watching Super Smash Shows. And I'll see you next time.